A judge, federal judge, I loved this story yesterday when I heard about it. A federal judge ordered sanctions yesterday for a couple of real scumballs. I mean, a couple of the worst filth ever to try to destroy the United States. Sidney Powell, Lin Wood, and several other of these disgusting ambulance chasers who worked for the orange vomit on these ridiculous lawsuits trying to challenge the results of the 2020 election. She is a judge, a district judge in the Eastern District of Michigan, Judge Linda Parker. Judge Parker said these filthy, rotten lawyers, they're not lawyers, they're scum. These lawyers had, quote, engaged in litigation practices that were abusive and, in turn, sanctionable, end quote. And she wrote a 110-page opinion. You probably heard about this yesterday. I think Rachel talked about it a lot last night. But among what she said is this, quote, sanctions are required to deter the filing of future frivolous lawsuits designed primarily to spread the narrative that our election processes are rigged and our democratic institutions cannot be trusted, end quote. I just wish you would have found some legal justification for putting these son of a bitches in jail, especially that hideous goddamn vampire, Sidney Powell. Oh my God, every time I see her, I don't know, I want to grab a bag of garlic. She is ordering the lawyers also to reimburse the attorney's fees that the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan paid in seeking the sanctions, which this judge granted. And these filthy fake lawyers also now have to take legal education classes, the judge said. That's good. And she is referring her decision to the Michigan Attorney Grievance Commission. And she added, quote, the appropriate disciplinary authority for the jurisdictions where each attorney is admitted to practice law, end quote. And Lin Wood, this disgusting white devil, referred CNN to his attorney when he was asked for a comment. I'm an attorney, but talk to my attorney, of course. And the vampiric Sidney Powell and the attorney who was representing Sidney Powell didn't respond to CNN, of course not. Now, the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, the Democrat, of course, praised the judge's decision, Judge Parker's decision. She said in a statement, Governor Whitmer did, that, quote, it sends a clear message that those who seek to overturn an American election and poison the well of American democracy will face consequences, end quote. Well, I hope the consequences for these scum is to have their law licenses taken away from them. They're not practicing law. A lawyer is, by definition, an officer of the court. Once he or she passes the bar in whatever state, they're officers of the court. They're supposed to stand for the elemental basis of this society, the rule of law. And these scum, these swine, like Sidney Powell and Lin Wood, are allowed to even enter a courtroom. Giuliani, the rest of these pigs. Something's got to change. Now, if you remember last November, when these cockroaches filed their frivolous lawsuit in Judge Parker's court, it was one of dozens of these phony-ass lawsuits that were used as an early major attempt by then still president, the scumbastard Donald Trump, to claim that the presidential election results were illegitimate. And you remember his team of swine as he went from court to court to court to state to court to court, 63, 65 times, all the way to the Supreme Court, we're told to get the fuck out of my courtroom. Over and over and over. And then last month, Judge Parker in Michigan grilled these slimy attorneys over their so-called election fraud claims during that 6-hour hearing when she went, we all heard about it, that line-by-line questioning. And when she did that, the result was a painstaking recounting of the ridiculousness of these bullshit claims by these fake attorneys. Now, the punishment handed down yesterday, punishments, plural, I should say, these are not the first for a pro-Trump gaggle of these fake attorneys who have brought these election-related results. If you remember, earlier this summer, Washington, D.C. and New York State suspended Giuliani's law license for pushing this election bullshit. I just wish that justice was a bit swifter. You know what I mean? It's very impatient for me to see this shit take months, years to work its way through the courts. I mean, when it's obvious. Okay, it's obvious to me. It's obvious to you. It's obvious to most of the goddamn world that Trump and his scum, his filth, his Nazis are working. They're trying to work the judges, work the refs, lie, obfuscate, hide, cover up, destroy. It's so obvious. I think they just ought to be rounded up, Trump included, and throw the fuckers out of the country. Oh boy, Malloy, you sound like a dictator yourself. But what are you going to do with slime like this? Can you imagine what this? Now, seriously, here is a thought problem for you. Imagine how the United States would be if Fox did not exist, the Fox sewer, and all the slime who cluster there, so that the airwaves were not polluted every fucking day, 24/7, 365, with the most horrendous Nazi bullshit since World War II, since the German-American Bund, when the Nazis would gather in Chicago and Madison Square Garden and San Francisco Cow Palace and all these places and have their Nazi rallies. That's what Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and every pig that works in the sewer at Fox. But imagine what it would be. That's what they're doing. But imagine what it would be like if it just disappeared. Imagine what it would be like in this country if the Christian fascists disappeared. Imagine what it would be like if every one of the scum-sucking rat bastard members of the Christian Fascist Party in Congress who voted to overturn the election, if they would just disappear. Just gone. And then their families could file missing persons reports or whatever. But imagine clean air. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.